by way of introduction, maybe we should do that for video, but this is Todd Phillips. Why don't you say hello?
Hey, Todd Phillips, director of The Hangover.
There you go, and many others.
Many
other
few
films
other movies.
that perhaps you've seen.
Sitting here with film school rejects.
Yeah, maybe that you've quoted to your college classmates.
Right.
Which, by the way, I have to thank you and also revile you for the fact that Old School just got quoted to the nth degree in college for me.
I know, it's crazy.
And there was a physical violence that rose up in me that I wanted to deal with these people.
Really?
That kept saying stuff.
Yeah, Old School really, Old School when it came out, people didn't do that well. Did well, but didn't do Wedding Crashers well.
Sure.
But there's something about Old School that sort of like really stuck with people. The quoting and the thing. I don't know. Really, somehow found its way into the culture. Some parts of it, which is like all you could hope for as a filmmaker.
Yeah. Does that sort of thing energize you?
It energizes you for sure. I mean, to think like Old School will hopefully stand the test of time. I think that's amazing. So.
Well, I think it's probably a good point, and I think it probably will be amongst the history that's written on this sort of current modern resurgence of R-rated comedies. Mm-hmm. That I think it started around There's Something About Mary, where you started to get this breach of making adult comedies and saying, okay, well, we're going to put semen on someone's ear, and we're not going to sugarcoat it. This is a movie for people that are over 18,
right?
And we laugh at
stupid stuff.
Ironically, I guess juvenile things, or appropriately juvenile things, you know. So it's good you mentioned Old School kind of right off the bat. There's sort of a vibe that you kind of took Will Ferrell, and this is one of the movies that launched him in a way. Mm-hmm. And with this film, you have the fortunate blessing enough to work with the kind of actors that you want to work with, and not necessarily have to cast Brad Pitt. You said a little bit earlier that you got a number from the studio, and as long as you can make it under that, you chose who you wanted to work with, and you're working with known people that don't necessarily have superstar profiles yet.
Right.
Do you see yourself as kind of a career launcher, or as someone who's willing just to work with?
It's my favorite part about what we do is the ability to expose audiences to people I think are really funny. I mean, not that Will Ferrell was on Saturday Night Live. It's a little bit different. He had a little bit of a larger profile for sure, and Vince had been in movies, but hadn't really done a comedy like Old School. On the scale of Old School, that kind of thing. Made, which is the best, and Swingers are just smaller films just by nature. But anyway, I thought Vince was the funniest, being funny. I thought that guy could be that guy should be in movies like this and just can crush it. And in this film, and my point is, it's exciting as a director to be able to have a part in that and have a piece of that. And in this, I think Zach's even more different, because Zach really, I think most general public has no idea who Zach is, and fans of stand-up comedy know he's the greatest.
There's sort of a cult movement there where the people that know him are in love with him and his work, and those who don't know him just haven't been exposed yet.
That's right. I mean, the ones who know, and they know he's the greatest, and he really is probably the greatest thing out there right now, as far as stand-up comedy goes. If you can even call it stand-up comedy, I don't really know what you want to call it.
I don't know.
I don't know what you call it.
It's like borderline performance art.
It's like Andy Kaufman meets Charlie Kaufman.
Nice.
Just came up with that.
Done.
Done.
Writer.
But anyway, so the ability to expose a guy like Zach or Ed, who I've known from New York improv scene,
who is
for a
great
long
in
time.
This movie, by the way.
And Ed Helms, who's great in this movie, and of course people now know him from The Office. But again, seeing a side of Ed and what Ed could deliver in a movie like this, I just think that's a thrill as a director.
Well, I was kind of talking to him earlier, and I don't know whether this will happen or not. Neither does he, unfortunately. But there was a project with Judd Apatow for him to star as in this movie, A Whole New Hue. And I think at this point he kind of confirmed that it's still a question of whether they're going to do it. But I kind of see it interesting that this film is going to take him to another level. Mm-hmm. As far as fame goes, and then if he took that as a starring role, he's a bona fide comedian, carrying multi-million-dollar films.
Right.
Out of the Daily Show, right?
It's a crazy business. Well, it certainly has happened out of the Daily Show. Steve Carell.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Weirder things have happened.
On the same tip, you've got like 40 to 50 projects in development according to IMDb. You have literally a dozen.
Yeah, I know. It's really funny that only the internet guys, no offense, treat IMDb like it's the Wall Street Journal.
No, I really
You do realize that it's just written by kids in Kansas that decide to write that he's doing Old School 2 and that they're filming now. You realize that it's not a fact.
You realize that our website's written by 5-year-olds.
No, but meaning Seriously. You guys are journalists. You guys are sitting
are
here.
We?
I think so. You guys are sitting here and doing interviews and talking to people that are actually involved.
Sure.
IMDb, as a kid, just decides one late he's smoking a joint. That wouldn't it be funny if this is what Old School 2 is about?
Yeah.
So you can't go on IMDb and decide what's in development. That said, I do, like all directors, have a few things I'm working on because things come together in different. You have to, for a movie to go, the planets have to align. It's a very tricky business, and more now that as more money has to be spent on marketing and making these films. It's harder and harder, and as the studios disappear and become one giant corporation, it's just harder and harder to get all the planets aligned.
Yeah. Sure.
So you do have a lot of projects in development. Yeah. You're right. I mean,
do you have
being a little facetious.
Do you have? No, I know. Do you have? Do you have like one that you're particularly angling for up next, or a person that you want to launch into stardom next?
Well, I mean, honestly, I'd love to work with any one of these guys again in any capacity, really. And if you've seen my movies in general. I tend to work with the same people over and over, even in the smaller parts. I mean,
yeah, sure.
I'm talking about I just like bringing people back, and so I'd be thrilled to work with any one of these guys again. But again, it's all about finding the right material and finding something, to do. Right now, I'm going to spend the summer writing and see what happens.
Sounds like a fun summer.
Yeah, it's like having a term paper that never ends.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You went to NYU Film School, is that right?
Yeah.
And yet you seem to have a sense of humor. About things. You don't
I was a film school reject. I dropped out in my third year.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Did you why did you drop out?
Honestly, I dropped out because I was finishing my first movie, which was called Hated.
Right.
Which is
a
documentary
awesome,
about Gigi Allen. And I needed the money to finish the movie, so I just saved the money on that, semester. And my mother had always bothered her because she's like, but it was only this much. I was like, but I need to finish the movie, so I never got a degree.
Does it still bother her now? Like, if you call her right now, she'll be like, it still bothers me.
She is Jewish, so it didn't sit right with her. But truthfully, in fairness, 3 years ago.
She's just mad that you never call anymore.
No, 3 years ago, in fairness, they sent me a degree in the mail.
No way.
Yeah.
Isn't that's the fulfilling part, right? Hey, I dropped out, and now you want me to come guest lecture.
No, it wasn't. They didn't ask anything. They just showed up in the mail one day.
Nice.
And then the dean said, so you can stop saying how you dropped out of NYU.
Oh, well, we got to take that out now. Cool. They're telling me to wrap it up.
Okay.
A little buzzkill, but the last thing I got to ask you is this. I think that you look like young Donald Sutherland, and apparently I'm crazy for this. Do you ever get that?
I have gotten that. I've got more, though, is Sidney Pollack.
Oh, really?
I get Sidney Pollack, and I look like Sidney Pollack.
Yeah.
You can do it on your little website. On a little box.
No, little. It's fine.
I meant in a little box.
You meant tiny website.
on your little.
Not well-read website.
Come on. I meant it. You can do it in a little box, put it next to it. But I've gotten Donald Sutherland, but more often I get a Sidney Pollack, a young Sidney Pollack.
I met Sidney Pollack, but I obviously didn't meet him when he was younger. But
right,
maybe we'll see.
But what's funny is I went up. I saw Donald Sutherland outside of the hotel once, and I went up to him and I said, I didn't introduce myself. I just said. He was with his wife. I said, you know what I get all the time? And his wife says right away, that you look like a young Donald Sutherland. And I said, yeah.
Well, you, especially as Mr. Creepy, so.
Yeah. It's based on him.
Do you think real fast that you'll be able to do any other band documentaries in the future?
I would love to. I have something in mind, but it's been a really difficult road.
What band?
I can't say because it's fucking genius, but I just don't want to get it out yet. No, but it's like the ultimate, and I've been working at it.
Well, that would be great because Hated and Bittersweet Hotel, fantastic. So hopefully Motel. Sorry.
Have you ever? We gotta go. I know.
No, that's totally true.
Cool, man.
Hey, well, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.